So it's so nice to talk to you about this movie. It was so amazing and emotional for us. How was it working on it?
Would you be surprised if I told you it was fun? We had Jacob around, so everything to him is really exciting and silly and interesting, and so because he was there, nothing really went that dark.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about Jacob. I'm sure everyone asked you, but he was so amazing. How was it working with him?
He's the best. He's just he's this great combination of being a real actor, like created a character that was completely different from himself and understood who Jack was and played him. But he also naturally has this sense of innocence and fun and a very big imagination that you see in the movie that he was able to bring on set. And so you had this combination of a very giving actor as well as someone who was just really fun to hang out with between takes.
Tell us about how you find yourself with such a, lifetime incredible role. How did you find yourself in it?
It was a pretty standard process. I was given the script and I absolutely loved it. And then I took a meeting with the director. We had a coffee meeting, and it was supposed to be just a very short meeting and instead turned into like a many hours sort of conversation about not just the script, but everything even beyond the script, the metaphor of the script. He started showing me pictures of his children, and we started talking about our own childhoods, and it was just very easy. And I realized that he saw what I saw in this project, which was this was not some true crime story. This was about taking that story but turning it into a very universal tale, and one that people could relate to, that would remind them of their parents or their own motherhood if they were parents themselves, or their childhood. And I found the whole thing to be just such a beautiful metaphor for that. And so after that conversation, he asked a small group, I guess, of girls to come in and read, and I got the job.
Well done.
Thanks.
And at this point, had you read the book? How close were you to the...
I'd read the book maybe like a year before I'd gotten the script.
Yeah, I loved how in the book, and it was so well portrayed in the movie as well, the story is through Jack, but it's almost through the mother as well, because they're sort of one person in a way. Was that something was it challenging shooting that?
Well, what I loved about the book was that it was from Jack's perspective, so it took what could have been a very heavy subject matter but put it in terms of a lighter, more innocent approach to it, and the things that Jack doesn't get in the book, we as an adult reading it completely fill in the blanks of. So that was one side of it that we knew that we could bring to the movie. But what was exciting to all of us was, including Emma, Lenny, and myself, was that we could also then show a side of Ma as a complete, complicated individual that you don't get from the book. So the book and the movie could in a way become a two-hander, that they didn't negate one another. It wasn't a pure interpretation of the book. They were actually almost like two sides of the same story.
How was it shooting in that room as well? Just in one room?
It was really nice. We had spent so much time building that space. Jacob and I did a lot of drawings and drew portraits of one another, and that's what's on the walls, and we built the toys that were in that room, and we had spent 3 months rehearsing and improvising in that space and going through that daily routine that you see in the movie. We did that every day for like a month. So by the time it came to shooting, it was such a safe space for us. It was one that we knew so well, and it became this great place that although the movie, it's a locked door, in reality it could open, and so it was a space that like we could walk into, and we could live in this world, and then we could exit.
Yeah, everyone I talk to is like, loved the movies. You already won awards. People are talking about more awards. What's your reaction to all these
I don't have one yet, and nothing's happened, so it's just a nice compliment. That's all.
And you already did win a few awards, so
yeah.
So in the story, what resonated the most to you?
Well, initially my draw to it was the mythology. So it so brilliantly took old stories like Plato's cave and Greek, Demeter, Persephone, and Rapunzel or Bluebeard, these very old stories that deal with a woman being trapped, and it kind of represents a mental representation of what it's like for women to be a young girl and then to break free of that and to kind of own their womanhood. So I saw this story as an incredible opportunity to tell that and to give an audience that that metaphorical experience.
Yeah, for sure. What was your best memory from the set?
One of my favorites that stick out to me was just watching Jacob kick a ball back and forth with the other boy. It was one of the last days of shooting, and it was sort of an easier day. A lot of the emotional stuff had been already done because we shot pretty much in chronological order, so it was towards the end of shooting. And he was just having such a blast playing with this kid. And I remember as we were watching, and he kicked the ball. It's in the movie when he kicked the ball and his boot flew off, and I about fell over. I thought it was the funniest thing ever, and it just brings me so much joy every time I watch it in the movie.